Hello, it's me, girl cat Corelli, and this is episode 281 of my Cat Vibe series. Today I'm painting something from the month of March. This is from Easy Walker Park, not far away from here. It was a nice sunny day. Early spring, I believe it was early March. So I'm going to be using a great deal of washed out colors, very tender washed out colors in the back, and that's exactly what I'm doing right here in the beginning. I'm deliberately using tons of oil, lots of wash, or rather, to be more specific, it's a mixture of oil and Gamsol. And I want to keep it light from the get-go. I'm kind of setting up the forefront, and I think that's part of how I like to paint. Sometimes, not always, not exclusively always, but sometimes I like to set up the foreground. I like to set up what I will be painting later. So I started with the back. I started with the sky because it sets the tonality of what is to come, and it makes it a lot easier to juxtapose the reds on the ground. And it's red because I guess it's some sort of fir tree or something like this, and it has all these brownish needles from last year, I guess, and the sunlight also just, comes across this area in such a fashion that it looks red. That's what originally captivated me in this scene. And because it's early spring, in the back you see all these trees, a tree line somewhere out there. Hell knows what is there. I don't even know exactly. And it's not that important. So I kind of blocked it in. And it is pinkish brownish because of the sunlight and because it is early spring. So you have all of this, all of these interesting color effects, basically. So you see what I'm doing? I'm blocking in the background, and then after that, I'm working on the foreground. And in this particular case, I find this to be very convenient. It makes it a lot more enjoyable and easier, quite frankly, to juxtapose the reds on the ground and actually the tree itself to the sky. Of course, the sky might need a little bit of adjustment a little bit later, but it's already something to play off of, if you know what I mean. Makes the whole process kind of a lot smoother, in my opinion. I know that there's a whole variety of approaches, and every artist has their own approach. I'm kind of just commenting on what am I doing here and why is it the way it is. Even though, most of the time when I start painting something, I don't really think about it in solid, stiff terms. I just go with the feeling. My instinct tells me that I have to fill in this area, set up this area, and then go from there. On some paintings, on a lot of them. And then on other paintings, I feel like I have to first take care of the main shape. For example, if it's not trees, if it's a portrait. I first have to take care of the subject and then kind of embed it, put it into the surroundings at some point, not right away, but at some point, so that it starts to bounce back and forth, off of its surroundings. It's kind of a very subtle thing. Sometimes I want to block in everything at once, especially when there is a lot of shapes, and it really matters to start with a kind of a balanced approach, so that I definitely know that, okay, this value is gonna be for these fruit, for example, right? And these values and these colors are going to be for the deeper shadows. There's going to be a painting a little later where I'm painting figs, and there is a whole bunch of them. That's what I'm talking about. Here, again, the lighter sky and the lighter the washed out background makes it a lot easier to work in the foreground and to deal with the trees, to kind of put them there. They're mid-range. They're not in the foreground, and they're not in the back. They're kind of sitting there in the mid-range. But in order to find where is that in between, I first had to lay out the back, then I had to lay out most of the foreground, and then it allowed me to take care of everything in between, which now creates depth. There we go. And here's the painting. It was a very nice day. I thoroughly enjoyed this painting. I really love painting stuff like this. Anyways, if you're interested in purchasing my works, reach out to me at ladycatherinecorelli@gmail.com. In the following month, I'll set up an Etsy store where my paintings will be made available. The paintings that you see here, which are currently unframed, most likely will become framed, because I think I figured out a way how I can actually do it, and it should look really nice. Other than that, thank you very much for being on my channel. I appreciate y'all's. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your comments on my music as well. And you will hear me next time. Meow.